What's happening?
What up? Got your pink drink?
You know what? I do. I got a pink drink. Got to get my book.
Pink drink.
That's right.
Get it. All right. It's been 2 weeks.
Yes, it has. Been busy.
Yep, it is. Whoa. It is baseball and softball season in the Delperdang household.
Yeah.
You know what that means?
A lot of dust, a lot of pollen.
It means my arms get tanner than the rest of my body.
That's right.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Arms and neck.
Straight redneck right there.
That's right. That's right. It's pretty good stuff, though.
Yeah. So where did we go last week?
Last week we shot on up to Scottsdale, Arizona, about 2 hours from us, 3 hours from you. Went up there and our coach, mentor, guru, did a class called ESO, Expansion System Orientation. She hasn't done it in quite a while.
And what is that course? What's it intended for?
It's intended for, at its ethos or original, it was created for teams, real estate teams, that were looking to expand outside of their current location. That could be expanding to other parts of the city,
and
state,
how it works,
country.
How it works, why. I think the big thing is everybody tries to make things work, but if you stick by a system or a plan that's been proven, then it tends to work out a lot better.
I think the probably the biggest reason for this was to get people to not expand when they're not ready.
You know what? It was my 5th time taking it.
Yeah, my 4th.
And we didn't expand until the 3rd time.
Yeah, so I really do think that a lot of it has to do with putting the brakes on people from expanding. So this was what I appreciate about this, and what Kristen does with a lot of the stuff that she teaches, is it's not just real estate related. We could be making socks, and this would apply to us.
Socks. Dude, I got my sock game going today, dude.
I got some too.
It's like Skittles blew up like 4th of
July.
July.
I got some tribal stuff going on.
What the heck is that, dude?
I have no idea.
Like DOS.
Lots of chevrons.
Yeah. Computer programming.
Pac-Man. So it was awesome. There was about 35 people in the room total. Different various brokerages, phases of business. Some people that are ready to expand tomorrow. Some people that are ready to expand 5 years. Some never.
Well, that was the main thing, is that usually a lot of people, they go in with the intent to kind of take their business outside or cross state line or whatever. And it was kind of talking about it. You don't necessarily have to cross state lines to expand.
No, she was talking about how many.
Way to do it first.
I think there's, let's say, 20 brokerages inside of Arizona state lines.
Yeah,
that could be 20 different locations right there, just in one state.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she kind of started off on why to expand, and she hit on a couple different things that expanding should expand your profits, expand your opportunity in your business, and also deepens your bench.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about earlier. Was that opportunity piece is huge.
Yeah.
We had if we weren't in business with some of the people that we're in business with, we wouldn't have the opportunity to help them out with referrals. Well, from our network and from their network, kind of merging.
Would you and I have gotten into business if you weren't expanding?
Actually, no.
If
you really think about that, no.
Yeah, it creates opportunity, and it's
well, I
cool.
think a lot of the misnomer on it is that people think that if you're going to take and I'm going to use real estate as an example, you have to make it exactly like your team wherever you're at. And that's what you kind of duplicate on the outside. And it's not that way at all.
It's called expansion, not multiplication, not duplication.
It's not that way. Where, you look at a franchise like a Dunkin' Donuts or a Walmart, we use that example in there.
Correct.
And these are businesses that you can duplicate, but they were going into these locations that were not big metropolis cities. They're, what is it that...
So Sam Walton...
Not Bill, right?
Not Bill Walton, no.
Yeah.
That guy, we're not a fan of that guy in Tucson, Arizona.
I won't talk bad about him, but I don't like to hear him speak,
Yeah, he definitely has a face for radio and a voice that should not be talking. So Sam Walton said this when he was growing. In his book, Made in America, Walmart targeted small towns. Competitors were ignoring. And he says this: now that we're out of debt, so the keyword there was out of debt before they start expanding. Because what do we know about expansion for the first 6 months?
It can be costly.
It can be very costly.
Yes, it can.
It's an investment into future dividends.
You got to have some deep pockets to expand.
Yeah. now that we're out of debt, we could really do something with our key strategy, which was simply to put good sized discount stores into one horse towns that everybody else was ignoring. In those days, Kmart.
Who's Kmart?
Kmart.
Besides,
I'm pretty sure that you will find a Kmart next to every Blockbuster.
Nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. In those days, Kmart wasn't going to towns below 50,000. And even Gibson's, I don't know what Gibson's is. Do you have Gibson's?
See that, dude?
Dude, you got issues.
Magic. What the heck happened there? Go ahead.
You got issues.
Dude, I don't know what the heck happened there.
Man.
That was weird.
The internet has spoken.
It has.
They would not go in Gibson's. Did you have Gibson's in Iowa?
Yes.
Did you?
I don't know about in Iowa. I remember seeing them back in the Midwest.
Never heard of it. Gibson's wouldn't go into towns much smaller than 10 to 12,000. We knew that our formula was working even in towns smaller than 5,000 people. There are plenty of those towns out there for us to expand into. And my a big takeaway I had was when Kristen was talking about that was that a lot of the times, let's look at like what's a small town in Arizona, real small town, Arizona City. Bisbee. Sue Bisbee. Bisbee is a very small town, and there could be one agent there that does majority of the business. And Kristen was saying that she'll go into a town that only has one person that dominates it, because there's always room for somebody else as a competitor or a competing brand.
But what won't she do?
If there's two.
There you go.
So if she goes into there's two, there's already people that can exhaust one of the two options. So she would go in there, and then conversely, if there's 4 or 5, she'd do that too. Mm-hmm. So very interesting. And what's cool about Kristen is that we are an expansion team, expansion business. Kristen is the godfather of expansion. I mean, she was and is Gary Keller's right-hand person for expansion. She was the VP of expansion for Keller Williams, large real estate brokerage. Did a lot of
training on it. That's
if
for sure.
there's anybody that has researched this exhaustively and worked behind the scenes on it, it's Kristen.
And you know, the unique thing is there's so many different expansion teams that are out there.
And models.
And models, yeah. So, and what's working in one location may not work in the other location. So it's not like a textbook. This is exactly how you do it. But we've learned that along the way. We've gone through growing pains, understanding what works and what doesn't work. But ultimately, if you're keeping the agent on the forefront in their best interest, things will typically turn out in the long run.
For sure.
Yeah. So
one of the conversations for the first day, and I spent quite a bit of time on it, was about culture and how do you expand culture. Because with any growth I came out of the nonprofit world, and I'm sure that your background in the military, that there was constant change, right? And culture based off the person that came in. Now, with our organization, we can choose who we're going to be in business with. I'm sure there's people that you maybe have gotten into business with in the military side that you maybe wouldn't have if you had full reign. Correct.
The filter wasn't as granular.
Yeah. Believe it or not, the military did not call you up for every single decision that was made.
That's right.
So you've seen firsthand how one person or 2 people or 3 people can positively impact culture or negatively impact culture.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
so, you know, when you grow, you can still maintain culture. Matter of fact, you can enhance culture if you vet the right people.
And I think that's the thing is you can enhance it, or you can take away from it too as well.
Correct.
You can disrupt it. And a lot of that is because you're not on the same page with values and vision.
Or sometimes there's cultures within organizations that need to be disrupted.
Yep.
Like apathetic ones.
Mm-hmm.
If people have kind of come to this apathetic place where there's no more growth, there's no more anything like that, maybe the best thing you could do is disrupt that. Mm-hmm. Get out of the comfort zone.
Well, there was, if I do remember, I think it was Kevlar. They had a company that they literally started building another plant right across the street.
Really?
And then they divided out that way because they became too big in one location to where it started really to affect the culture.
Yeah.
So they branched it into 2 different.
That's pretty cool.
Pieces. So there's a lot to learn from that. You know, military is very similar as well. That's why they have flights and squadrons and wings and groups and so different commands.
Going back to just our organization. is we used to just have one office.
That's right.
And everybody was in it. And now our team in Tucson alone is split probably 60-40 between two locations that are 35 minutes apart. How did that impact culture?
You know, the thing is, my biggest fear was when we did divide out that, you know, you're going to have two different cliques. However, the way to keep a beat on that is stay true to your accountability. And our accountability is we have a team meeting every Monday and it's not at one location or the other, so they don't feel dominant. So we're at a third location for that team meeting where we have all parties on from all locations. And then every single day we have a call. So it doesn't matter where you're at physically. And that's the good thing about technology is it doesn't matter where you're at. You can still
I split my time between the two locations. So 2 times a week I'm over there, 3 days a week I'm over here. And even still, like when Jess pops in, you know, unannounced to the east side location, she's usually at the northwest side location.
Yep.
It's fun.
Well, it's unique because it's like it's natural.
Yeah.
You know, you go to a dinner table, everybody has their place setting,
right?
But there's no name on the back of the chair. It's like, you know, dad sits over here, mom sits over here, and, you know, kids may sit somewhere. Try changing that up. Go sit in that little kid's chair.
I should do that tonight.
There you go. And that's the thing is when somebody shows up from one of the other locations, it's not that they're out of their element. Everybody, we have the shared resources, but the thing is you start to have a comfort with the people that you surround yourself with.
That's awesome.
So, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, looking at the Inkspot model is how Walmart grew. Was they started in one location in the Midwest and then went to the closest neighboring cities. Matter of fact, Gary Keller did that with Keller Williams.
That's right.
So you're talking about the largest retail chain.
We didn't do that with our team.
But why didn't you do that?
Well, we started to attempt expansion without even knowing it. We literally had an agent that was moving to Phoenix, and we didn't know how, but we were going to attempt it. But ultimately, we didn't have the systems in place. So if we would have originally started with that, then I think it could have worked out, and we would have gone to Phoenix first, and then right outside of there. But
how? So our most recent location, because if you look at
it's an hour and a half down the street here.
The most recent one, the two most recent are Sierra Vista and Phoenix.
Closest to Tucson. So we did a little bit of that's one of the things that we learned a little bit that, you know.
What story of our lives.
But here's the thing, it was about the who. Those
exactly.
people didn't come into our world until after we had the other locations.
Why did and does Kansas City continue to work?
Because we got the right people in the right location.
Yep. Meaning
same with Vegas and same with Kansas City.
One of the guys we look up to quite a bit is Ben Kinney. If Ben Kinney, who's in Bellingham, Washington, if he sold all of his businesses, started over, and he said, "Hey guys, I want to open up Team Integrity, Seattle," would we blink at that?
Heck no, dude.
Because of the person.
Yeah. Well, and that's when he built his teams out, he went straight down the freeway there.
He did. I don't know what the freeway is, but he essentially went down Interstate 10.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That was the thing too. The main question that kind of popped out to me was why does this, and it may seem to some it's a newer phenomenon on expansion, but why didn't it work before?
I just don't think, I think it's multiple, is the agents weren't ready, and
that was a huge discussion.
The market was not ready.
Well, and I think you add technology to that mix too.
Yeah.
You know, and because you're right, I think the agents weren't ready, and I'll say this from an industry that we're in, I don't think we were very business savvy. We didn't run it like a business. We just, you know, people selling real estate, they're looking at number of, you know, transactions or look at the pretty, you know, color of the wall, this, that, the other, but it was not, you know, running it like a business, really.
No, it was traditional.
I think it's gotten really
transactional real estate.
Gotten into that a lot.
And looking at
more recent,
we're even shifting constantly right now. We've got Courtney, who's our awesome marketing gal. She is pushing the envelope for us social media wise, and I would not say by any means that we are pioneering social media. Heck no. We are. I would say that we are better than most right now.
Expansion, for crying out loud.
No.
Because, boy, we're learning left and right.
We are. Yeah. But it's just because you're behind the curve or on the curve, or maybe just a little bit ahead, doesn't mean that you don't give it your all. It's never too late to start.
That's right.
Yep.
What else did you take away from that class?
One of the comments things I had that they talked about was expansion was don't expand to 2 locations. Either do 1 or do 3.
Yep.
Because when you expand to 1, you can give undevoted attention to one or the other. When you go to 2, you're not going to be profitable. Just the way the finances work, it's going to be very hard to maintain profit when you go into just 2 locations. So saying if you're going to do it, do 1, learn your systems, get everything fixed, and then grow out of that to 3 or 4 to 5 right away.
And see, like right now, what we're looking at is growing deep, not wide right now.
Yeah, it's almost like we sped up. We got to where we need to with the right people. We need to deepen that bench, and then we'll speed up again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was interesting that we were having a discussion this morning, and if typically most coaches will ask, hey, what do you want to be in another year from now? How many locations do you want to be in? And we're like, I don't know where we want to be physically, but what I do want to make sure is that we grow deeper and we have some successful agents in the locations that we're at. Yeah, that's more important than anything, and that's just going to allow us to kind of grow outside that. Otherwise, all we're going to be jack of all trades, master of none. Yeah,
and I think it allows for that organic growth as well as and this is just, you can tell me I'm completely wrong in this, but sometimes when you force big goals, you may make compromises on the people. That I just, when you've got a quota, I guess, maybe sometimes.
Well, when you put the books in front of people, yeah, that can happen.
It's
trying to balance the books because you're not getting somewhere. So guess what? I got to get the next person in here to make it happen. You're right.
Yeah, I just everybody's got different ways to operate. We operate in a different way where we want to maintain culture as much as possible, and we still there's no negating that we are growth minded. We want to add people to our organization. We want to add the right people to our organization.
Well, it's putting them in the right seat on the bus.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. The other thing I had was looking at the hockey stick curve of growth and just kind of where we're at as an organization and looking at how other organizations really had that 4-year, those ones that had exponential growth. It was around that 4 or 5 year mark.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is I think they nailed it when they started talking about the first 2-3 locations is where you're learning.
You're breaking your model.
Exactly. You're learning what's working, what's not working, and you're adapting.
Yeah.
Very quickly. So, I think we're very thankful for who we have in our world. It's actually pretty cool.
Oh, for sure.
What was one of the I've got here written down? Real estate is the funding mechanism that allows you to do anything that you want to do.
Yeah, I look at my just a small one for me is building homes in Mexico. Mm-hmm. If I did not have real estate, both as an income and flexibility, I don't know if I could do it at the level that I enjoy doing.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't. Yeah, exactly. Wait, I call it the hamster wheel.
Yeah.
Seems like you'd be on that hamster wheel
constantly. Yep.
So we talked a little bit about this morning, two things this morning in pretty good detail at the meeting there. One was the empire builders, wealth builders.
Yeah.
The other was actually that 80-20 principle, where being able to prioritize.
Yeah.
And I think every human being always has to stay in tune on prioritizing their needs, understanding what their needs are, first of all.
I can give you an example of that. The 80-20. So first describe 80-20 as far as task.
80-20 principle. Isn't it Pareto? Isn't it?
Yeah, Pareto.
So basically he had some crops and he was noticing that 80% of the produce was coming from 20% of the land mass. And he was like, why? And you go back to, and we've talked about this before, you look at it, no offense, but you look at my wife's closet, she's only wearing 20% of the shoes that are in there,
That is approximately 15% more than my wife's.
Yeah, there you go. So, and then I look at, look at your clothes, look at my clothes in there, I'm pretty,
I'm
basic.
Lean. I can
But
my closet size is like this much.
it's
but
it's in business. What we look at now is 80% of the 20% of the agents are doing 80% of the work.
And so looking at your tasks though, like if money making activities, you need to focus on the top 20% of money making activities and leverage off the other 80%.
That's right. And those are the have to do on your have to do list, not your to do list.
I got called to the carpet one time. So when I was the team leader of a market center here in town, we were going through a remodel, ordered a bunch of new furniture and stuff like that. And at that time, a guy named Jeremiah Taylor was my MAPS coach. Jeremiah is a friend of ours, awesome guy. He's very good dude and was an awesome MAPS coach. He truly, Jeremiah definitely thinks at a higher level than most. And he was in town because he had a team in our market center, and I was in my office with one or two other people, other staff members, and we were putting together chairs. We just got a shipment of chairs in. We were putting them together, put them out in the bullpen. And he walks in, he goes, "Man, your top 20% looks pretty interesting today." And he goes, "How much do you make an hour?" And I told him how much I made an hour. And he goes, "You are officially the highest paid assembler in North America." He goes, you're spending X amount of dollars doing a $8 an hour job. And I was sitting there, I'm like, crap. And I'm going, well, it's just this once. He goes, "How many of these things do you do throughout the week?"
Yeah. I think that's what we talked about this morning was, what's on your list, your to-do list or have to-do list.
Yeah.
And if you look at it, probably only 2 items on that list out of 10 are going to be things that you have to do, the money producing activities. And the problem is we do the other stuff because it's more entertainment. It's funner to do. It's, easier, whatever. But then you're left with the 2 things that you were supposed to do to generate the income, and you just didn't do it.
Yeah. Looking at, say you've got, you're doing stuff that is remedial or lower paid, like $10 an hour times 40 hours a week. How much is that?
Would you say $10
an hour times 40?
400.
So you're talking $400 that you could leverage off to a virtual assistant or something like that to leverage off 40 hours worth of work a week for you.
Well, I I related that to changing oil in my car. I can do it. Don't get me wrong. That's no problem. I was a helicopter mechanic by trade, so I think I can change oil in my car.
Yeah.
However, if I can take it in and get it changed, and then I'm able to do some sort of activity that's going to possibly bring new business or meet somebody or et cetera, I'm able to make more money while I'm actually paying somebody to do that.
Now, if changing the oil in your car was something that you really enjoy doing.
Oh, if I enjoyed it, then I'm going to do it. Just like, landscaping is another example. If you love landscaping, then do it.
Like I made a mantle for our house. It turned out great. It took me several hours because I love woodworking and want to do all that stuff. I could have just ordered one online, had one delivered and installed, and it would have saved me hours. But I enjoyed doing it.
So how does that apply to expansion? If you really think about it, the thing is that one of the biggest keys is agents have to learn how to leverage.
How many of our expansion locations agents would love to do transaction coordinating full time? Approximately 0.
Yeah,
0 of them would. How many of them would love to spend 4 hours? Can you imagine Chris Ojeda trying to design a flyer for something?
That would actually be some entertainment.
Actually, that would. I'd love to watch that. But they just don't. So, the hub here allows the agents to focus on their top 20% money-making activities.
So it leverages the 80%. And that 80% is in the hub's top 20%.
Correct.
There you go.
Yep.
And I think as soon as you start to look at it that way versus, tasks that you have to do, because ultimately you're only going to do the things that you're going to do real well.
Yeah.
And have some great results.
It is. And then some of the other stuff we talked about was surrounding yourself. We talked about this extensively with top 5 wealth determiners and people that are...
And protectors.
Yeah. We would all say that a protector for us is Jenny. Jenny protects
keeping the eyes on the books, keeping the eyes going where it needs to go.
Yeah.
You know,
She
checks and
just-
balances. I was saying this earlier, my tax guy. You
Yep.
know?
Absolutely.
So if you don't have these kind of people in your world, then it is you that's doing it.
Do you
So,
think your tax guy listens to our podcast?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No way.
No.
No, I don't.
Your tax guy is your BFF.
Yes, he's great.
Dude, he
He
protects
is.
you. He's a protector.
Yeah.
Coaches protect you. Kristen protects
Mhm.
is a protector for our business. She's able to see stuff that we don't.
Mhm.
You know, ask the right questions.
And that's what we talked about too. You know, these individuals are basically the mirror for you. They're telling you exactly what they see. And it's not for you to defend it. It's to accept the fact that they saw it for a reason. It's what are you going to do to either change it or are you okay with it?
Yeah. And why do you, like an example is, why do you let your tax guy be a protector for you? Why
Because-
him?
You know, that's a good question. I think a lot of it is because I don't want to even mess with that stuff.
Well, it's because he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and exactly. That's not my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
It's just not. You
Yeah.
know.
He's at some point, for some reason, he proved
Why
himself
do you think people don't use people?
I think arrogance is one.
I think cost.
Well, yeah.
They think the cost may not be worth it.
Yeah, I could see that. And your financial situation is different than mine, is different
Mhm.
than everybody's. You know, everybody's unique in that aspect. So the requirement of, could you imagine trying to do all that stuff on your own?
No,
You know,
not even.
when you were a young airman, could you do it by yourself?
Yeah, no.
You know.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you depending on what time you have to do.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah. You know, there's
things get more complex too.
for sure.
You know.
For sure. Yeah, you look at it like you got to work on your AC. Could you read enough books to figure it out? Absolutely.
YouTube.
YouTube it. You know, do I want to?
Mhm.
No, whatsoever. I'd rather call
Yeah.
the guy,
Exactly.
have him fix it. Yeah, that's a big one.
What do we have coming up later this week?
So we're gonna do be live on our page with a surprise guest, and so we'll do that probably Wednesday. We both are getting ready to go out of the country separately. You head Saturday to Belize,
I do.
right?
Saturday, yeah.
I leave Friday for Rocky Point, Mexico. So we'll nail that
Mhm.
down. I've got a couple sweet Hawaiian shirts here.
What is this about?
Tell us, man.
All right.
We've got a good friend named Barbara.
Yep. Barbara is actually one of the sweetest ladies I know. She actually is she's a leader. She's a changer. She makes stuff happen.
She gets
Um,
it done.
She
No,
actually was the individual
She
that.
gets people to get it done.
That's right. She actually was the individual that came in and brought Honor Flight. You know, that takes these vets back to D.C. to see the memorials. But ultimately, she's on a new project, and I don't know how many projects she's on now, but a ton of them that impact people. But this one here is she's taking donations for Hawaiian shirts.
Yep.
Like these, and I got a bunch of them over here. And actually, I think there's 12,000 of them total right now that they've shipped overseas to the troops.
So I didn't get it until I saw the pictures.
There you go.
So these go to different bases for men and women that are deployed overseas, and apparently, like one of the pictures I saw was 12 dudes in Hawaiian shirts playing ping pong together.
Yep. Well,
It's a little sense of home, I guess.
I think it is. It really is. And I think the unique one I think that we're partaking in is we are donating to a submarine.
Yep.
So if you think about it, and you have one day that's Hawaiian, a luau down in a submarine. That's actually kind of cool.
I don't
you
even, how
know?
deep do you think those subs go? I have no idea.
Well, you know what? If
5,000
it's-
feet?
If it's past 6 feet, which is how tall I am,
It's too deep.
That's too deep for me.
You're not a fan of water like
Not
that.
Really?
I just remembered us being in Rocky
Yeah.
Point, and you're like, nope, I'm good right here. I was going to
There's-
swim to Baja,
Dude,
California.
there are things in that ocean that they haven't even identified yet. So,
Yep.
no, I'm good.
Yep. So if people want to get involved, here's what you do. You go to your thrift store and you go buy every single one
That's
of
right.
these you can find, or
Or
you'll buy them on Amazon.
some of these guys can go in their closet and pull some of this stuff out.
For sure. So do that. We'll, if you're interested, comment below, and we will send you the address to send them. We're gonna roll them up in a couple weeks and ship them.
That's right.
I don't know what you do. Do you just
I don't know. That's
drive
what
out
Barbara's
to the middle of
for.
the ocean?
Barbara's going to show you how to do it, and then we're going to do it, and then she's going to move on to something different.
She's an awesome one. We talked about getting her on the podcast too.
We will. Actually, you know what? We have a date on that. I forget what
That's
date
right.
it is. We
It's
do.
in May. So that's coming up. That's already booked.
So she'll be on.
That'll be good.
Great lady. Don't miss that one.
What else we got coming up?
Wreaths across America. She's a part of that as well. We're
Yep.
doing that, putting wreaths out on headstones.
Yep. We are doing
So-
all of the USS Arizona
Mm-hmm.
at the U of A.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
that'll be good. So check in. I will have this posted ASAP, and we will do a Be Live.
Sounds
with
good.
With some on our Facebook Drill Talk
That's right.
page.
Sounds good.
Right.
Later.
Peace out.
Peace.